Now, it seems members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities are ready for a long-drawn battle over a long-time disagreement with the federal government. Now, the union has extended its ongoing one-month strike by another 2 months. And ASUU made the announcement on its Twitter handle, saying the government has failed in fulfilling its agreement with the striking university lecturers. And one of the vexed issues in the face-off is the integrated payroll and personnel information system, which ASUU insists is unsuitable for university system. Well, a fresh crisis brewed over the matter when the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inuwa, declared that the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, UTAS, created by ASUU as alternative to IPPIS, failed an integrity test. Well, ASUU, in a statement by its national president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, accused Inuwa and the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Pantami, of deliberately misinforming the public. And the union therefore invited Pantami and Inuwa to a public debate over the integrity of UTAS. Now, Tunde, let's begin with you on this issue now. Let's understand more about this controversy surrounding the proposed university payment system by ASUU to replace the government's integrated personnel payroll that used to pay their salaries. What do you make of this back and forth between the government and academic union?
I think, like we have repeated here several times, there seems to be insincerity. If it is not on the part of both parties, then definitely on the part of the federal government. This agreement was signed in 2009. Now, in 2020, they went on strike. 2021, they went on strike. They called it off December 2021 and 2020. The whole of last year was almost strike-free. Now, only for us to go back to the same thing. And about this issue of IPPIS, yes, if you say you don't believe in IPPIS, well, let us come to the round table. They created UTAS, which the university community believes it is more. Because of the way universities are run, you cannot just say you pay them as civil servants, because there are some people that are even being paid on part-time basis. A lot of things. So university is a community, it's a universe. So yes, I can agree with them, but why has it taken the federal government so long to now subject that UTAS and send it to the National Information Technology Agency? And it also has taken the Minister for Communications to come out and now say it has failed integrity test after you signed that thing about December 2020. So what we are saying now is that, does it mean that whenever the government goes into any agreement and sign it, it will go to sleep again? It will not go back? Because if it has actually laid the cards on the table, as at December 2020, and said that, look, we don't believe in UTAS, let us find another solution. Why is it that it has taken the federal government over a year or another strike for it to now revert back to say, it's okay, we don't believe in strike? It's like if a woman should divorce, or a man should divorce his husband, and you now refer to the fact that after when I was courting you, you did something 10 years ago when I was courting you. You now assume that particular grievance you have 10 years ago, and you are already 10 years into the marriage. Does it mean that you are insincere, or you are trying to double cross somebody, or you are trying to blackmail the other partner? So what we think here is that, yes, if federal government has no money to pay, I think it is better for government to come out. And like the federal government said today, that they have met all the conditions. What are those conditions? I think it is time for us now to subject public policy to a public debate. Let us know which party is wrong. Either the ASUU has been overbearing in their demand, or the federal government has failed consistently over a long period of time to honor an agreement they signed. So the public now deserves to know, because the public is affected more by what happens. Don't look at the university students alone. To any campus that you have gone to in Nigeria, when ASUU is on strike and the academic season is not on, a lot of businesses have collapsed. Most businesses that are done on campus have. So you are not looking at the students alone that are on holiday. All the businesses that are associated with is on holiday. And secondly, this thing is going to affect the rating of our university system in Nigeria. I don't know why the government cannot come out this time around. Let the Federal Ministry of Education publish what they have done for ASUU, and let the ASUU too publish their own one. Let us take that thing to the court of public opinion. Because it will appear as if federal government is saying they have met the condition. As you say, they have not met any. So which one do you believe? So we have to come out, either the industrial court will have to intervene in this for it to be able to explain to Nigerians. Because now Nigerians are in the dark. And I don't want to believe, I sincerely don't want to believe that both parties are deceiving Nigerians.
So, Lekon, would you agree that this matter needs to be revisited, publicly? Because from what Mr. Tunde is saying, whatever happens, the public gets affected. Now, in this case, now the students will be left to sit at home for another 8 weeks. So, what is the solution? Is it the industrial courts that needs to be called into this, or what exactly do you propose here?
Well, my understanding about this is, first, the government does not have the money. Let's first understand that. That's my first conclusion. And now it now begins to play games. You have to give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. The IPPIS that the federal government proposed, the lecturers are saying it does not take care of certain things. I was listening to TV yesterday. A professor at UNIFE was saying that his payment is haphazard. They will make some deductions over the next month. They will pay. It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent. That one has failed integrity test. The UTAS that they say is 75%, 77% to 85% okay. Government said so by itself. Is now saying it has failed integrity test. What is the meaning of that integrity test? It only says that it is not so much acceptable. What is the meaning of that? Something that was proposed by ASUU by itself, which they have, it takes care of the issues of, as for example, you are a lecturer at University of Lagos. On your 7th year, you go for sabbatical in, let's say, University of Ife. Your salary for that 1 year in Unilag will be paid. And your salary in the other place will also be paid. IPPIS does not take cognizance of that. And then you and I know, how many universities do we have in Nigeria now? The universities are understaffed. Go to the university and go and see a lecturer attending to 1,000 students inside one class. How does he grade? How do you grade them?
Using public address system.
Using public address. You don't even have. I used to have lecturers who knew me one-on-one, and we are still friends today in that same University of Lagos. When we were in the undergrad class, maximum we were 42, and they said we were too many. Now that's undergrad. PhD classes, you will see 50 students. MSc, you will see there's part-time, and then there is the other one, full-time. And the lecturers are going through
and there's
both.
Professional,
say again?
Professional, those who MBA.
MBA, executive MBA, all the rest of them. These same human beings are the ones. Please, Esther, how do you sit down and teach 1,000? Why is that possible? And then there are no textbooks.
You can't even mark 500 students. You
get into the laboratories, there are no reagents. Nothing to work with.
So are you trying to say now that the UTAS takes care of all these concerns? It takes care of the emoluments, remuneration issues.
Okay. But they are also talking about autonomy of the university.
That's the system.
Which IPPIS does not support. Do you understand? So the issues, I think I said this on this set about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I am biased towards ASUU because of what I have seen. How do you listen? For the first time I'm saying this. How can a teacher stand in front of 1,000 students and is teaching them? How does he get across? How do they even grade the examinations, the scripts? How do you grade it to start with? And then the equipments that you, I was in a mathematics class. You know, as the lecturer is writing things on the blackboard for you, the sun came in and there was a reflection. The man was talking to himself. We couldn't get across to him because it's an MSc class. We were about 500 of us. in a mathematics class. The man was just talking to himself. I don't know how a lot of people passed that course. These people are working in, I've seen this thing, you know.
The work conditions.
Yes, I've seen it. So, like I said, I'm sorry if I seem to be a bit biased, but it's just, and then, in any case, government is government. Government is supposed to provide certain things. And at the same time, and the government is vicariously responsible for what is happening. When you don't run the economy well, there's poverty in the land. Anyway, by the time we start talking about the diesel thing, you're not running the country well. You don't have a system that runs well, so that there will be. This country has so much resources, human and material resources, and people are going to Ukraine. Nigerians are saying that they want to die in Ukraine. Nigerians are asking them to come and pay $1,000 for visa and transport fare to go and fight for Ukraine.
But the foreign affairs minister that said he's not going to allow such a thing happen.
Yeah, but it happened. It just shows you the level of desperation in this country. And then, do you know how many? I went for the funeral of a friend 2 Fridays ago in Abeokuta. He died in America. This man was in final year when I was in year 1 in Unilag. He went to America, got his PhD, and came back, and he was teaching. He was the first of the 3 first class in his set. There are 3 first classes. He was the first. He was the best overall students. He graduated. He did chemical engineering, master's statistics, PhD back in chemical engineering. This man is a genius. He was one of the people who composed Nigeria's the current national anthem of this country. He was frustrated out of this country, including somebody stealing his laptop inside his office, inside of University of Lagos. What level of frustration are people dealing with?
Okay, we understand your passion about this matter, Mr. Litcom, but the thing that I want to really understand here is the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, which being canvassed by the academics.
Yeah.
You know, you've raised some valid points here, but does this in any way solve the problem? A lecturer to 1,000 students and maybe work conditions and all of that, but does it really solve that? Because their concern is the payment.
I have said something that I am sure that the government does not have the funds. And because the government is not running the economy well, that's my first position. Section 13 of Nigerian Constitution says security and welfare, meaning economics.
Right.
Listen, economics comes from 2 Greek words, oikos and nomos, which means house management. That is what is called economics. The government, all the governments we have had so far, none of them is managing the economy well. And then look at the insecurity. Nigerians are running away from this country because people are running away. People don't want to come. I have a younger brother in America. He says if I want to see him, he can't come to Nigeria, but he's willing to meet me in UK.
Right.
That is the problem that we have in this country. They are not running this economy well. That is, in fact, all this we are even discussing. I think we should not even discuss it. Let's discuss the economy of this country.
All right, let's quickly take this call from Ibadan. Ulushola, please go ahead with your contribution. You're live.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm Odushola Julius from Ibadan, your state capital.
Good evening.
Mr. Lekon Shote, good afternoon, sir. Mr. Abaton, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Now, in this country, I would like to say something that it seems we are now in a democratic orphan. We are now a democratic orphan where we don't have leaders, good leaders, or we don't have father. Why? Because, you see, we are being jettisoned to do things on our own. Educational sector is now in comatose. Even the private university that people are running to now, they are being treated, they are just like glorified secondary school. They are being treated like students that are just coming out of secondary school. Now, who is lying among federal government and ASUU? Federal government says they are not owing them anything. ASUU says they are yet to be paid. So we don't know what is really happening. We don't know exactly what Ministry of Education is doing on this issue. 2 months again. Honestly, I don't know. Insecurity will now increase and crime rate will now increase in our society. And these are the things that our government need to take care of so that we'll have a better society.
All right, Ulushola, thank you very much for your contribution. We appreciate your insights there. So, Tunde, with what he said so far, and taking a cue from our caller. You know, the concerns that many have been asking is, why are we having this issue? Because some have said there should be a better way to have differences resolved as against going on strike. Because at the end of the day, the students get to suffer. And already the students are joining the call with ASUU in joining them for the strike, you know, to ensure that their demands are met. But from your own eye, from your own perspective, do you think perhaps strike is the best option?
Well, you see, people look, I have a son in the university. You get it, one of the first generation university, whether you like it or not. So what I'm saying now is I am just being practical. Look, like he said, you only need to visit the university campus and to know what people are going through. If a lecturer, he was just being nice by saying there are 1,000 students. No lecturer can mark 400 sheets, answer sheet of any student. It is not possible. You will have to give it out to some people. I've had called to supervise somebody who was a lecturer in the Polytechnic and help him to grade about 200 students who have to write their thesis. So is it possible? So we are talking about, but I think what is actually happening is that we have to be sincere with ourselves. Professor Wole Soyinka said something some years ago, where it may sound outlandish. I think we should close down our university system for 1 year or two and do a summit on education in Nigeria. But unfortunately, those
what good would that do?
All those who are in government in Nigeria,
what good would that
the good we do is that let us examine ourselves and see the kind of education system, if we have any education system. But what it means now is that there's no education system in this country. If we have an education system, we will sit down and say, this is the resources we have in this country. This is how to prioritize these resources. But unfortunately, the elite, that is the ruling elite in Nigeria today, they are immune from this rot because they can easily send their children out of Nigeria. But the question I keep on asking is that, when you sit down, let them go back to the classroom. Are we producing employable graduates with this particular thing we have? Are we producing employable graduates? Are the lecturers happy? Because this is the economy. This is the 21st century economy we are running. We are not, the technology in the country is not going back. If you buy a new generation car now, you cannot afford to go, if there is an electrical problem, you cannot afford to give that car to a mechanic by the roadside. The person has to know how to configure the car, how to scan the vehicle. Because without scanning, you cannot diagnose. Right. And without a proper diagnosis, you cannot begin to repair. So the problem now is that for us to diagnose the problem we have with the education system, let there be for 1 year and let us sit down sincerely. But unfortunately, the really elite in Nigeria today, I think they are very wicked. And they are being selfish.
Esther, you are asking if it is practical. It is practical.
And what good, actually, I asked?
Wait, yes. Let's first understand it is practical. All it will happen is that there will be no admission.
Yes.
For some time. And you say for 1 or 2 years, and those in the university, they will clear out, and then they will now sit down and do a proper assessment of what do we even have. What are the deficiencies? What assets do we have? What infrastructures do we have for the educational system in Nigeria? What do we have? Where is it? Listen, I was discussing with somebody 1 or 2 days ago when the old Western region was going to introduce free education.
Yes.
It wasn't just 1 day. They sat down, they planned and said, we want to do free education. Give me a paper. How do we operate it? The paper, they went through the paper. I would say, okay, good. Now, this will require financing. Okay, how do Minister for Finance, come, give us a program, a paper on how we can source the money and then how we spend. The Minister for Education, when you get the money, what are you going to spend the money for? Then the people who are, you remember, they commissioned people, they knew people who are good writers and said, look, you need to write textbooks for us. So those things were ready. So by the time education was going to take off, are you saying there was no education at that time? People were going to school, but they knew that they wanted to do something. It took them some 2-3 years. They planned it, and I can tell you for free that the southwestern part of Nigeria, including Edo and Delta State, whether you like it or not, that is why this is the hub of media in Nigeria. This is where, in the southwest, if in Lagos, this is where it is happening because of the high level of education, the basic education of the populace.
All right, let me hold your thoughts. Let's quickly take this call from Joss. Please go ahead with your contribution. Hello, go ahead if you're live.
Okay. The problem you're having in Nigeria, yes. The problem. Thank you for allowing me. The problem we are having with ASUU and the federal government is this.
Well, listening, go ahead.
The problem we are having is that the politicians, they don't have our interests at heart. They are ruling us, and they want their children to come and rule us. That is why they are giving room to the private universities rather than investing in the federal government, the state government, the state or federal government universities. They don't have our interests at heart. They rule us, and they want their children to come and rule us again. So the problem is the politicians and not the ASUU. That is to my.
All right,
thank you very much.
I appreciate your contribution on the show. So Tunde,
to add to what he said, according to the blueprint that was published in 1952, when the Western Region government decided to implement free education in January 1955, there was no acceptable census then. The government has to conduct and consult an American who did a map survey of Western Region.
That's right.
At the end of the day, they were able to suggest that 440,000 pupils of school-going age will be ready for primary school by January 1955. Yes.
And they planned.
And they planned 1952. By the time they made the announcement, you know, it still happened when I was in primary school. Before you were enrolled, you make an announcement. Yeah, come and register. They leave 3 months opportunity for parents to take their children to school. If they do your hand like this,
yes.
If it is not up like that, they will ask you to go and stay at home. I have to stay at home for 1 year because I was very close to the ground when I was 5 and 6 years old. Praise the Lord. Yeah. So the thing is that by the time they came out in June 1954 with the figure, the enrolled people, they told that there are about 940,000 students of school-going age that will be going in January. What happened? What did the Western Region government did? They started building school, expanding facilities, constructing shares, like he said, or you're asking publishers to start publishing school. So for that 6 months period, they were able to cover, they created many teacher training colleges.
Yes.
And some of that is the essence of planning. What I'm saying is that if a government is so sincere about education in the first instance, it could not plan for education. So it means is that why are we going back and forth? If we are really serious about education, like he said, I believe the ruling political elite in Nigeria, they are very selfish, and I keep on saying it. But unfortunately for them, today we have 15 million children in Nigeria who are out of school, which means we have a potential 15 million Boko Haram in Nigeria.
And it's work together.
Yes, in Nigeria. And when you have that, come and tell me how your children are going to enjoy that money. It is not possible. Nobody pray that your son will go to Harvard, and when he gets to Murtala Mohammed Airport, armed robbers will shoot him before your driver takes him home. Nobody pray for that. But there was a time I told somebody that, do you pray for that? Because you fail to train them. So the thing is that if we close down for 1 year and let us do a census of all the institutions we have in Nigeria today, primary school, secondary school, how many students do we have? How are we going to house them? What kind of education policy? We have a lot of gaps in our education. Not everybody is supposed to go to the university. Not everybody is supposed to go to the polytechnic. Yeah. There are some people that are supposed to go to technical colleges. Basically, I don't know why they keep on phasing out teacher training colleges. I don't know why we keep on closing down national college educations, because they have their own role they are playing. But everybody now wants to go to university. Most of those people who end up in university, they cannot impart knowledge, because you can have a BSc in education and not be able to teach. We seem to have gotten everything right. So except the best thing we can do now, let us be sincere with ourselves, and for 1 year, and let us study our needs for education, and now begin to put it right. That
study
is the only
our
thing we can
needs
get.
for 1 year. What's your final position on this matter? Right.
You see, if it is true that a senator in Nigeria is earning $353 million naira per annum,
24 million per month.
To do what? What kind of job? What is he doing? Do you understand? I think it was a commissioner or somewhere in the north. He had, they say, 200 special assistants and all these kind of people, and you are paying them for doing no job. They come and tell me that there's something called security vote. There is police. Is that not security? There is army. There is air force. There is DSS. All those are security. They still say the governor has security vote. There's so much things that they are wasting our money on.
My brother,
we do not have the priorities.
Sometime in 2020.
Right, before we bring in your suggestions on this matter, let's take this call from Port Harcourt Treasure. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening.
Good evening, Treasure. We can hear you live. Please go ahead.
Thank you for...
Hello, Treasure.
Bring it down to Pidgin English, where every woman will hear me. I'm a mother.
No problem. Go ahead. We understand you.
Children in the university. After all this problem, these children will come and stay two more months or 8 weeks in the house. In the house, and we are suffering. No food to eat, no money to pay house rent, no nothing. God is not doing anything. They don't want these children to carry gun and come to government house and kill them before they will change this country. I don't understand the kind of country that we are. Every day journalist will be talking, nobody will listen to them. There is no amendment. The government don't want to hear. Nobody wants to hear. And they are keeping suffering for these children. Is that the best for us?
Thank you very much, Treasure. We appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much for that.
As I was saying, in 2020, a young man won a by-election, I think it's from Kaduna State, into the House of Representatives. So when he was sworn in, after he was sworn in, before he made his speech, that he now told the House that I want to show that I am not only powerful in the House, I am also powerful at home. And he showed Nigerians he brought his 4 wives to the chamber of the National Assembly to show Nigerians that that is what... Is that what you are teaching? Purpose? For what purpose? He now display 4 wives. A young man who must have about 24 children, as confessed.
Yeah, he just got another one about a month ago.
And is this showing Nigerians that young Nigerians that that's what they should do? And here you say these boys are into Yahoo and some other things. Is that the kind of leadership we should be exhibiting in Nigeria? I pity that the National Assembly leadership too even put that one on camera.
All right, let's sincerely hope something gets done for the sake of our children who are still at home instead of it to be at the classroom.